Hi again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Around the Town with Chuck. My name is Chuck Guglielmo, a weekly interview show where we talk with very interesting people. And we want to welcome Lori Riley, Conneaut Area City School Superintendent, back for a third time.
Third time's a charm.
You've been so accommodating. No matter what date I throw out there, you're ready to go. So we appreciate that.
Thank you.
Lori, it's been a year for you of decisions, challenges, accomplishments, and goals, and I want to talk about those, starting with decisions.
Okay.
Give us a little review of when you first came back here in July. You told us you had, when you found out about the superintendent opening job in Conneaut, I believe you said you had about 2 days to make that decision. Refresh our mind on how why that was.
Mr. Notar had submitted a letter right at the beginning of July, and districts have only until the 10th of July to allow current employees out of their contracts. And so I received a call from the board on Wednesday, interviewed on Friday, resigned from Ashtabula Friday afternoon, and was hired Saturday morning, and I believe that was the 9th of July. So they were up against a timeline. My concern was, how do you express to your community that you've hired a CEO in that short amount of time? And they had done their homework. They had called around. So from the time I got the call from them and until I was hired, I had 48 hours to understand where I was coming and what I would be fitting into. And I will tell you, 11 months later, it was the best decision I could have made. I've been very happy to come to be here.
Well, we're very happy to have you here.
Thank you.
I have to say that. More decisions you had to make came during the winter season when
Yes.
you had to decide whether you were going to cancel classes or you were going to keep them open. And we've talked before how tough that is and the hours that you would have to get up in the morning. I think you told us once that your kitchen was like a computer station.
It's like a command center. I have a couple different computers going. I get up about 3:30, 4 o'clock, start talking with other superintendents, some people here in the city, and then we have to make the call by 6 a.m. We did have one successful late start because of a power outage. So we tested that and it worked very well also. So we had calamity days, and then we did have just a late start day because of a power outage.
As long as we're on calamity days, Lori, straighten us out again, because there still seems to be some confusion, because they went from days to hours, and I guess you missed 9 days.
We did.
And so people keep asking me, and I'm not sure I even have it straight, why are we making up days?
Well, we're making up time. So what we did was we had 4 days to make up. We added time to the day to make up 2 of those, and then the students are going 2 extra days. The state sets minimum standards, but the school districts can go above the minimum standards. So we have time where 5 days of missing school is okay, but after that, then we need to look at how do we make that time up. I am finalizing the school calendar. It's going to the board this month, and the calamity day makeup schedule will be on there. So for example, if by President's Day we have to make a day up next year, everyone already knows that will be a makeup day. There's going to be a day in May, and then there'll be time added on. So we won't be in the situation that we're in this year, but we want to go above and beyond the minimum that's required, and so that's why we're making some time up.
So it's time versus days.
Correct. Everything's reported in hours now.
Somebody had asked me, and I said I'd ask you. Now, one of the things you've used to help make up some of that time was you added some time to the day. What was it, 10 minutes?
20 minutes.
On the beginning.
Correct.
If you were to do that for the next school year, are you able to do that? Add 10 minutes, say, every day to the school year to make up, so you don't have to make them up at the end of the year?
We could, and the problem, with this time was we were under when the board meeting was and when we had to make up the last few days. We were on track in March, and then we had 2 days in a row in March. That is what sent us to adding the extra time. So that's why, in my mind now, being the one to create this year's school calendar or next year's school calendar, then I already know the plan in place for next year's calamity days. So if after a certain point we'll be able to communicate when that
great.
time has to be put on.
That's
so
great.
We have 2 days already on the calendar if we need to make it up, and then at that point we'll make up the time.
That's great. How did it go so far as the early time?
It's been fine. Yes, everyone. It's just an adjustment. So just like on a 2-hour delay, when we had a 2-hour delay, what time do I report? You're just pushing everything back to back earlier.
Did you find it better to do that prior to the day rather than at the end of the day?
Yes, because with students going places after school, parents have arrangements. It's hard on working parents and on kids with activities. You're extending their afternoon, and we need to get kids to where they need to be. So starting them little sleepy in the eyes, but starting them a little bit earlier, we felt was a better move than trying to add time on to the end of the day, or even to try to balance it, because then you're making adjustments on both ends.
Mm-hmm. More decisions that you had to make, along with the school board, of course, was the levy coming on.
And can I just say, we want to thank the Conneaut community for supporting the levy. It just continues to show to me what a great community this is, and the support of their levy. That next morning, I don't know that my feet hit the ground until about noon. It's just a good feeling to know that your community supports your schools.
And to have 62% support it was really great too.
Yes.
As well. On that subject, now, of course, prior to the levy passing, you had to make some cuts, and that's unfortunate.
Correct.
That's just the way it had to be. And you're still going to have to make more cuts, right? You want to explain?
Sure. It is the levy win, or the passage of the levy was bittersweet, because there are still positions that have to be cut. Originally, when we looked at here's positions that we could identify that made good business sense that would have to be cut regardless, because we did not ask the community for the entire amount of money that we would need to operate. We wanted the community to meet us 50%, meet us halfway. So we knew we would have to make $1 million in reductions, and then ask the community for the $1 million levy. In the meantime, the governor is playing with the budget. And so currently, and every time they run the numbers, we're still set to lose about another $500,000 from the governor's budget. So the thought of possibly bringing some positions back at this point doesn't seem possible, because of the additional cuts that we would have to have made with the governor's budget. But because the community supported the levy, and because we made some reductions, we're going to have to stand firm on those reductions to meet the loss from the governor's budget.
Mm-hmm. How much credit goes to the levy campaign team?
Oh, well, to the levy team, to the parents, to the community. We wanted to just run a positive campaign. We wanted to get the message out that, we were just asking for you to meet us halfway. But yeah, the work that the levy committee did in a very short amount of time, we can't thank them enough.
Now, this levy will create, correct me if I'm wrong, about $1 million each year for 5 years?
Correct.
That's pretty beneficial for you?
For the next 5 years, yes. But because it's an emergency levy, it's a very short term, so it is just over that 5-year span. And then we'll have to look at, after those 5 years, what's next. So.
And this is the first one to pass of this nature since 1984.
No, they passed an emergency in 2000.
Oh, that wasn't a renewal?
No, the last new money was 1984. The levy in 2000 was another emergency levy. So it's been since 1984 since any new money's been added.
So a one-time superintendent gets it done. How great is that?
Well, I had a lot of support, and again, since I started here August 1st, what I've seen in this community, it doesn't surprise me that the levy passed. So we're very thankful.
Making cuts, Lori, will that the next batch of cuts? Do you know, or can you even say if it would be certified, classified, both, neither?
Well, we're hoping that after this reduction that we won't have to make any more. Then that's why we're keeping what we originally had said. If the levy passes, we could bring some jobs back. But because of the governor's budget, we don't see where that's possible at this time. But we're hoping now to just stop where we're at and continue to make other good business decisions to move forward. We're doing things with some green energy that's saving a little bit of money. We surveyed staff in their buildings about things that they thought we could do, looking at paper consumption, looking at copy consumption. So all those things over time could save money. So it's just sometimes like your own household and awareness of where money is being spent. So if we turn off lights if we don't make as many copies as we need, if we do more things electronically, that will save little, but every little bit helps. So we're looking at some personnel ways to save money going down the road.
So the cuts that were made already, what will we lose?
We lost some teachers. We'll be losing some support staff and an administrative position. So the cuts were made in all three areas, administrative, certified, and classified, and we'll be announcing the rest of those shortly.
Did the cuts affect the 4 buildings, all 4 school buildings?
All 4 school buildings, yes. Some teachers at the high school, subject areas, grade levels at Conneaut, or Gateway Elementary and Lakeshore Primary, and some staff at the middle school. So yes, all around the board, we've made reductions top down, so in all 3 areas.
Well, fortunately, the levy did pass
Yes.
it, and that should be some help to you,
Yes,
I would think.
yes.
Let's continue with our year in review. This year, of course, was the first year we had an administrative shuffle with the principals. How would you say that went?
Well, coming in new, it was nice for me because I started with a clean slate with everyone, and with everyone in new buildings, they were all learning the operation of their own buildings, so it was new to all of us together. I feel that they're all in the right positions, and I'm excited to move forward next year with nobody being new and with no newness to anybody, that it's just year 2 for all of us on the same page. So going forward, we're looking forward to seeing what that brings for us.
Mm-hmm. How would you say your relationship was with the Conneaut Area City School Board?
Oh, they've just been wonderful, very supportive. I came as an assistant, so this is a new position, being the one in charge, but they have been just very, very supportive of decisions that we've made together. And coming with Jackie, the treasurer, from the same district, she and I were already on the same page and know how each other works. Which was very beneficial, I believe, for the district, because we had to make these cuts. We had some hard decisions behind closed doors, but together with the board could very much take ownership in the positions that we had to do and the reductions we had to make. So just extremely supportive all the way around.
Very good. Speaking of Jackie, I need to get Jackie on
I know,
the show.
I should have brought her today.
Yeah, I need to get her on the show, and tell her I will get her on the show. Staying with our themes on more decisions or challenges, whatever you want to call it, this was the first year the Conneaut Spartans were able to get into a conference that you were somewhat familiar with, because your alma mater is in that conference district.
We're playing them in baseball in 10 minutes.
Yes, I'll get you out of here.
That's fine.
What was I going to say? Oh, we're playing in the same conference. I remember you saying the winter sport or the fall sports went pretty well. Mm-hmm. Struggled a little bit in the winter sports. How are the spring sports doing with the new conference?
Our girls are doing well. Their girls softball, they're playing starting Thursday in the next round of playoffs. Our track has done very well. I attended my first track meet, and that is certainly an event all in of itself. There's so many volunteers that are there to help. And here.
What a beautiful facility.
Beautiful facility, and just the volunteers, parents, and staff members that come and help run meets. It's just a very well-oiled machine, but it takes a lot of people. We hosted a middle school track event last Monday, so we had middle schools here doing track as well. So we're excited that, again, to continue with the theme, nothing's going to be new next year. So it's our second year in District 10. Joel Taylor's done a nice job merging the Pennsylvania and Ohio rules and regulations and finding our way around that. So I'm very excited that we just kind of jump in next year and already know what the waters are like.
Have you received any feedback from the District 10 schools?
Well, you have to. Joel relayed some feedback that they had a meeting, and skeptical when you bring an Ohio school in, but they've been very happy. That was communicated to Joel, that members of District 10 were happy with our facilities, with our staff, with our students. Very positive. When our girls played Villa, I actually sat with a high school friend whose daughter played for Villa Maria and couldn't get over how friendly the kids were. The pep band was playing that night, so very well received, I believe, by those in District 10.
Good.
And it's been nice for our kids to have that schedule that they can follow, and now we'll face these teams again next year and kind of know where we're at with some of them. So.
Good. In April, you had kindergarten registration. How did that go, and what kind of an enrollment did it look like?
I believe we had less than 100 so far. They're constantly making appointments, getting people in. It's a very detailed process because we want to make sure you're sending your child to kindergarten when they're ready. And if there's some things that parents can work on over the summer, we want to communicate that as well. So they just finished that up a couple weeks ago.
What's the age requirement? They got to be 5 by a certain time?
By August 1st.
By August 1st. So they can still
You can still register, call Lakeshore Primary, and because we want to have the most accurate count so we have proper staffing in the fall. But it used to be September 30th, so we kind of moved the age up 2 months. I have a young child, and if I had to do it all over, but if I had to do it all over again, I might rethink it. Because it's hard when they're the youngest in their class. But Conneaut's cutoff is August 1st. And so if they turn 5 on or before August 1st, we'll get them enrolled.
Now that was strictly for kindergarten. What about pre-K?
We are doing assessments right now. We're taking enrollment for that as well at Lakeshore. So you can call the school and they'll get you in.
Your first full year in Conneaut with parent-teacher conference, how successful would you say they were?
Relatively successful. We're proposing a couple different things next year. Where we're going to split conferences so that high school, because they're on quarters, we're going to break theirs up. So they'll have a fall, a first 9 weeks, a second 9 weeks, and a third 9 weeks conference. Gateway and Lakeshore will have second and third 9 weeks. Because really...
That sounds like a good idea.
Well, we'll see.
No, it does.
Well, because this way... especially at the high school and the middle school, if you run semester classes, if you wait until November to have a conference, the semester's almost over because it ends before Christmas. So we're going to run some conferences late September, early October for the high school and middle school students. Because you want to catch the kids so that you can meet with the parents and ensure success, not wait till it's too late and then there's lots of grounds to make up.
Sounds like a great idea to me. Of course, a parent and a teacher can schedule a conference one-on-one anytime.
Right, and that's what we would encourage parents to do too, and teachers on either side. Let's help the kids be successful. We're talking a lot about more positive interventions. Same thing, there's a new House bill on attendance, so the attendance laws are changing next year, and we want to help kids be successful because we want them in school. So we don't want to be punitive in any way. We want there to be interventions so kids can be successful.
Lori, when you look back at when you took the job back in July, up till now, when you look back at the school year so far, is there any one thing that happened that you never dreamed would happen?
Oh, that's a hard question.
Whether it was good or not so
Well,
good. Outside of the levy stuff.
Well, I was going to say, certainly
outside
having
of
to put
that.
the levy on and then passing the levy, it's almost like a high and low rolled into one. You know what? I'm looking forward to D-Day because I missed it last year.
It's been 3 days this year.
Yes. I don't know. Is there anything that surprised me? That's a hard one. I mean, because really a lot of things have focused on the levy.
Sure.
But and it's all new. I'm so excited for the next 2 weeks with all the events because I haven't seen graduation here before. I haven't seen.
It's coming up shortly.
Yes, Saturday.
Oh my goodness, that early.
But I mean, outside of the levy, really the levy kind of was a major focus. And then I don't think people realize with assessments that we start testing by the state requirements in October, and we just finished in May. So almost every month we're doing some kind of testing, and that consumes a lot of time of staff, of kids, of families. So again, we're going to put those testing dates for next year on the calendar so parents can plan accordingly at the very beginning of the year.
I was watching something on television on one of our cable channels here that the school calendar is out for next year. I believe we're starting August 22nd.
Yes, teachers report the 21st, students report the 22nd.
And we're going to try again this year to close before Memorial Day.
We are going to, yes. But if we're not, that makeup date's already on the calendar, just in case we have to make it up. But,
And if we are going to close before Memorial Day, that means we did pretty good for winter weather, right?
Yes, and hopefully, knock on wood, we will do that.
How do you get any feedback on starting real early and getting out real early?
You know, I had an interesting conversation with some kids at a basketball game because we were talking about calendars and when we would start, and I said every district is unique. You know, Jefferson has the fair that they have to work around, and Geneva has Geneva on the Lake that they have to work around. We have D-Day. Unfortunately, again, with testing from October to May, we need the kids in as early as possible, so all their instruction is ahead of all this assessments that the state has us doing. You know, unfortunately, we're out in May in Northeast Ohio. Weather's not real warm until July, so we're getting them out. But everyone would like to see a later start. We tend to be towards the later end of starting. There are other districts next year that are starting a week before us with kids.
How about you personally? Do you like the early start? Or
I
later
work
start?
12 months, so I like when kids are around. I like the early start because then we're getting them back and getting them into a routine. I wouldn't mind kind of a 12-month give or take with extended breaks.
The all year round school. I was just going to ask you that. Would that solve the Calamity Day thing?
Not necessarily, because you would still have school in the winter and you could still have a bad winter day. But I think kids need time to be kids. I think there's a lot of pressure on kids these days, and so even though the traditional school calendar was based on when we had farms and when kids had to work in farms, even though I would like a 12-month, I like that kids have time to be kids and get out and play and get off of electronic devices. That's the other thing. I don't have a summer, but go out and enjoy summer, and don't stay in all summer on technology. But make sure that you read too, because we need some good books read over the summer.
You mentioned commencement coming up on Saturday. What's our graduation count this year?
About 111, 112, I want to say.
Is that up or down from last year, do you know?
We're down a little bit. But, I mean, and as a district, we're down in enrollment. We have 1,730 students right now. And that's part of the governor's budget is loss of enrollment equals loss of funds.
I want to say, I don't know this for sure, but I bet I'm 100% sure. The earliest ever for commencement in Conneaut?
It might be, you know, being new, this is the calendar that I came into. It's the Saturday before Memorial Day, and that's what we're heading for next year. We have baccalaureate on Friday night. We have senior awards tomorrow night. So it's a very busy week.
Will commencement be held at Joslyn Field or at the high school?
At the high school in the gym at 7 o'clock. The baccalaureate that the students are running with the Ministerial Society is at St. Mary's Church on Friday night at 6:30. So the kids will they did a graduation walk today. So they bused the kids to the 3 other buildings and they walked the halls so they could see former teachers, and we could celebrate them in that way. So there's a lot going on. Spring sports are coming up. And then the ATEC graduation, or their award ceremony, is the 26th of May. So 6 days after our high school graduation.
Any other interesting dates you got there, Lori, that we didn't talk about?
Well, just the final last day is Tuesday, May 30th. So because of the extension with kids, the kids' last day is May 30th.
And then the teachers are the day after.
The day after.
Okay, very good.
So that's where we're at.
Very good.
It's been a great year.
Appreciate you coming in. I mean,
you.
it was your third visit this year. You'll probably get 3 more during the next school
3
year.
strikes you're out. I don't know. I hope it's a charm and not 3 strikes you're out.
Go Cavs.
Go
Still
Cavs,
Cavaliers
yes,
fan.
yes.
You got to visit 3 major league ballparks recently.
We went to 3 ballparks over spring break, the Angels, the Dodgers, and the Padres.
Do you root for the home teams?
We do. That's why we try not to go when the Indians are playing, because we want to experience the home field advantage. But we did that, and so the rest of my summer will really be focused on closing out the year, but really preparing for next year. I have a list on my board of 2017, 2018 things to accomplish, and scheduling a retreat with the administrators for a full day so we can close out the year, but then really have a solid plan for next year, because we need to be rolling.
Well, we'll look forward to get you back in here in August.
Thanks.
Enjoy your summer.
All right.
Go Tribe. Go
Tribe.
Cavs.
Yeah,
Lori
it's exciting.
Riley, Superintendent of Conneaut Area City Schools, my guest today on Around the Town with Chuck.